remove the topo lines to create the base for a slope, right? What we're going to do is to maybe at this point try to make another layer or a few other layers, name it so, because then that way you can put appropriate new objects in its own layer. Okay, so what we're going to do is to create a new layer, and one of the layer is going to be topo surface. If you want, you could change the color of certain things so that you can identify things a little bit easier. Next might be topo points. And you could actually name these whatever you want, but I suggest you do something that that makes sense to you. Okay, and another would be topo new. Okay, so as long as we may or may not create more layers, but at least we have layers that we could start to create new objects in. Okay, so we're going to set ourselves up in the topo points layer as the as the current layer, and what we're going to do is to divide these lines up into a more smoother mesh. Okay, right now if you click on this, it's just a line. If you say, let me turn this layer off so we just have this topo lines, we need to show the topo line, or I'm sorry, show how these lines are kind of broken up in our drawing. The way we drew this thing, we probably drew it as a straight line first, so you'll have a point, point, point at each of these bends. To show what that looks like, you'll go over to this this tool right here at points, which is in column A, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, seventh one from the top, or seventh one from the bottom. So hover over it, it looks like a little curve with these two little points, and it says edit points on, and you'll use your left mouse button. Once you do, oh sorry, we have to select the topo lines and then show points. And when you do that, hit the edit points on, and you'll notice that all these points will show up on the line. And like we suspected, all the line segments, the points are there, correct? Okay. To make a smooth mesh type of site, we kind of have to have this equally divided up. Okay, so what we want to do is to take this thing and then divide them up equally. So if you go over to the point tools, which is up on the column B, first tool down, if you expand that, you'll see this tool right here that says divide curves by length. When you click on that, you'll get a command prompt saying curve lengths are blah 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 blah, which is all these different distances. Okay, enter length segments, curve direction, flip direction. What you want to do here is to first check the curve direction. You'll see all these arrows that are on the curve. Sometimes, depending on the direction that you drew this, the arrows will be pointed the wrong way. To make this thing work, you want the arrows all pointing in the same direction. So if it doesn't point, you could click on that and it'll change the direction. Okay, so this one didn't really have to do, just showing you how to do that. Okay, and then we could type in, let's say, the distance that we want these apart. So for us, we could say 10 feet for this project. And that'll divide each of these points into a 10-foot increment. Now, the more points, or the shorter the distance, more accurate your model is going to be. However, the shorter the distance, more points that it's going to make and more file space that it's going to take. You're going to have a huge file. You probably want to find somewhere, some happy medium of that. So it might not be 10 foot, it might be 20 foot, it might be 25 foot. Maybe 50 foot is too much. So you might want to try this a little bit, you might want to experiment with this a little bit first. Okay, so I typed in 10 foot, say enter, and notice that now my points have moved, or new points have been created. If I click on the screen, which is not letting me do, notice that these points are equally divided along the line now. Okay, so that's the first part that you will do.